that was a pretty crazy ride.
Yeah. Hey guys, we're back. We just finished watching the movie. That was intense. That the movie was not what I expected it to be, based on the 7-minute trailer, or not trailer, but 7-minute preview they gave us. The rest of the movie is a completely different tone.
Agreed.
Than what that 7 minutes was. I gotta sneeze.
Gesundheit. Yeah, it's definitely not the best movie I've ever seen. It was entertaining, fun, funny, good action. I'll go with the good first. We'll get into what I think they could have done or should have done. What I think could have made it better than it was. But Kobe, what do you think?
The first, scene they released was definitely a totally different tone than the rest of the movie, like Brian said. I felt like that the trailer kind of misrepresented the movie a little bit. I felt like it was mostly going to be an actual tournament, kind of like the original Mortal Kombat movie. There's not even a semblance of a tournament in this movie. Like Shang Tsung is breaking all the rules in this movie, which is fine. It's just I was looking forward to more of the like climbing the ladder type of thing from the original. However, the action in this movie and the gore is just ridiculous. I mean, the best part of the movie, without a doubt, is Kano. I think you guys would probably agree with that, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And I actually while Kano was awesome, I feel like he is also the biggest problem with this movie.
Yeah. They lean on him way too much sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like they. I don't know how much of him was scripted, but it felt like they were just go with it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it was ad lib.
Every scene where he was in the room, he was in charge of the scene.
Oh yeah.
And Kano's character is supposed to be funny and witty, but he also probably has twice as much dialogue.
Oh, dude,
as every other character.
It was one liner after one liner after one liner.
I think he easily had the most speaking lines. I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah.
I don't think the movie would have been half as funny without his dialogue.
No.
Well, that's actually my problem with the movie is I guess let me say this. I had fun.
Yeah.
But I had fun in the same way that I had fun watching the Transformers movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I had fun watching, any other movie.
Fast and Furious.
Movie doesn't have to be good to be fun. Yeah.
Good reference.
If the first 7 minutes, if that I wanted the rest of the movie to be done that same way. I wanted a serious movie.
When I saw that,
wanted lore.
Yeah, when I saw that, I thought they were really going to go for a sort of character study, emotional grounded story, and a grounded story where you have an ice monster killing people, but as grounded as it could be, But then it became.
I thought it was going to be a series, a drama almost.
Absolutely, yeah. And then
can I throw this out there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I think that if they would have done kind of since it's on HBO Go. HBO Max, excuse me.
Pokemon Go.
They could have done a series type with this, just kind of like Disney Plus is going, and done more of a backstory with each character. Because after the first 7 minutes, it's just bam, 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 bam. These are all the characters, and
there was no build.
It's 2 minutes.
It needs about 20 more minutes to breathe. Yeah.
Each one, it's okay, well, here's all these people that we're going to throw in this movie. We're going to give them all 20 to you. And
ironically, the character that they build up in the best 7 minutes of the movie is dead.
Yeah, he shows up at the beginning and the end.
They built Scorpion as the hero.
Scorpion's all over the trailer. All over the trailer. Yeah, and the trailer is his part.
Well, even the first 7 minutes, the best 7 minutes of the movie, they build him up as the guy that you want to see more of, and then he's gone until the very end.
And I believe, if I recall right, when we reacted to the first 7 minutes, I was is Scorpion going to be the main character in this movie? Like,
Yeah.
because you get attached to this guy because he's doing a hell of a job acting, and you feel
He's an
him.
amazing actor.
And then it's like after that scene is over,
I had a
you
feeling
don't even really see him until the last.
because I brought it up.
Do you know what else he's in that you've probably seen and don't realize he was in?
No.
Have you watched the Rush Hour movies?
All of them.
He's the villain in the third one. He's Jackie Chan's partner, ex-partner.
He
He's
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's awesome in
good call.
Westworld too. Season 2 of Westworld when they do
Yeah,
like the
and
Japanese
Lost.
episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good in Lost. Like, he's an amazing actor. Like, he did very well. The guy that played Sub-Zero, like, Sub-Zero was awesome.
Oh yeah, he did a hell of a job.
Him
too.
and Scorpion like Kano was great for all of his comedic content. Like,
Yeah.
they couldn't have cast a better guy for him, but the way they portrayed Sub-Zero and Scorpion, especially Sub-Zero, like he's a walking fear factory.
He's
like
new-
when he shows up, you know things are happening.
He's Noob Saibot with ice powers in this movie. Like that's what he is. I mean, he like
Yeah.
he's a when he's on screen, it's a horror movie. I mean, it's a horror movie when he's on screen.
I'm gonna pull up a picture for you, Jeff, of Noob Saibot because I know you're not familiar with him, but he sort of reincarnates as a shadow ninja.
Okay. So they were kind of going with that with Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So,
because
like,
they know that's where he's going. You know, if they make
Yeah.
a second one, that's what he's going to be. You know, you could see. I don't know if you noticed it, but like when after like Scorpion, like I mean, obviously this is a
like he
spoiler.
becomes
This is obviously a spoiler review, but like after Scorpion kills him
Yeah.
at the very end, it shows him like the camera's like looking down from the top, and he's laying down and his like on the ground, and there's ashes everywhere. He's like totally black because he's all charred and
Yeah.
stuff. And I was
Well,
like, oh,
when-
there's Noob. When he took his armor
when
off,
he pulled,
yeah.
Yeah, when he pulled the armor off, that's Noob
Yeah.
Saibot because he's all just black cloth.
Yeah.
But
I was a little surprised with their choice.
like I said,
I was a little surprised with their choice of Outworld characters. Like Reiko and Natara are just sort of like B level. Like I used to like playing as Reiko and MK4, but Natara sucks, and she's there just to get cut in half from Kung Lao. That fatality was legit, dude. That fatality was awesome.
Either one of them could have been easily
Any other
replaced
character,
with Baraka.
Yep.
Katana wasn't even in
Yes.
this.
Yeah. How do you have a Mortal Kombat movie like without Katana? Especially with
that's
a lot of it takes place in Outworld.
Like I wish that they would have. I don't know. Like I enjoyed the movie and it was fun, but I
could have
wish
been so much better.
They could have stuck with more of the main storyline, like of the first movie in '95.
Yeah,
and just revamped that with
Yeah.
all the same characters.
Yeah,
and it would have been fucking top notch.
With
the graphics and everything.
I really like.
I don't know what
suggestion.
they're doing. Like
They just rushed it. They just rushed the shit out of it.
Yeah. I was actually thinking too, like you said earlier, like especially towards the end of the movie, I was like, this would have been better served as
A
a
series.
Netflix movie.
Yes.
or
Every
Netflix
episode-
show.
Every episode could be a round
About a
tournament.
different
Climbing the
character,
ladder.
too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. This should have been like maybe 10 episode first season
absolutely.
of Mortal
And
Kombat.
they would have made so much more money too. Like instead of just dropping
Yep.
a movie, because people would have got. I get invested in series. The series
Yeah, for
coming
sure.
out on Netflix, whether it's Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Go. Like you get invested and you get to see the backstories on all these characters. Like, could you imagine the backstories on like any of these guys?
Yeah.
Like we got the backstory on Scorpion and Sub-Zero, for 7 minutes. That was only 7 minutes. Could you imagine, a 45 an hour long episode of just those two guys' backstories going back and forth?
What's crazy is, Colby, you've probably seen this. I don't know if you have, Jeff. Probably about 10 years ago, they started
Rebirth
making
series.
Yeah, so they did a YouTube Mortal Kombat Rebirth series, and it was like 10-minute videos that focused on
The first
the
scene in this movie could have
origins.
been one of those episodes. It'd have been perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, like each one of those is a 10-minute-ish episode of the origin of a Mortal Kombat character.
Yeah.
And like Raiden's character he's telling everyone he's a lightning god, and they think that he's insane. So
He
like
falls
he's in an
down to earth,
asylum.
like next to a mental asylum, and like he's telling people like, "Hey," because he loses his powers, and he's like, "Hey,
Yeah,
I'm
they
Thunder God."
lobotomize him and
Yeah,
stuff, and like
Damn.
it's dark.
yeah, it
Was
is.
it what's the
But that's
guy's
more
name that
like
played
realistic,
Jax?
you know. Like
Oh,
if somebody came to you and was like, "Yeah, I'm a lightning god,"
well, that's what I thought we were
Okay,
getting
crazy.
more of that serious
The grounded
storytelling
style, yeah.
based on those first 7 minutes. Um, and it's okay. I mean, it's based on Mortal Kombat. I
Right.
get
You
it.
know, it's
Like,
not supposed to be serious, but the
but
first 7 minutes they released, though, you're thinking like, "Holy shit!" You know, this could be
yeah,
This movie's obviously not
it's
gonna.
amazing.
like
It's not gonna win any Oscars, but that first that first scene is like,
No,
holy shit, they're
oh
going for
no,
it. They're going for it.
that's like,
it
yeah, man.
it's like going to a restaurant because like when we watched the this first 7 minute video, I think I said like this is an appetizer at a 5-star restaurant.
Yep.
Now I feel like we got a 5-star restaurant appetizer and then went to Taco Bell.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was still good,
It was good.
but it's Taco
You just
Bell.
have to take a major shit after you eat.
Exactly.
Yeah. We've basically gone to Waffle
Like,
House at like 2 a.m. now, you know, and
yeah,
so
I
like
mean, we went somewhere fancy, had some hors d'oeuvres, and then went to the
I
place.
hate. I feel like we're like knocking the
it's
shit
so
out of the movie.
entertaining. We
The
love.
movie wasn't
I loved
bad.
watching it. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
we were having
wasn't
a
bad.
great time
I
watching the
am
movie.
going to watch it again.
It was nostalgia, you know. You
Yeah.
think back to when you were actually had the controller in your hand, you're playing the game. You know, it's very cool, and it was good. It was done good. You know,
Yeah.
like the movie was complete. It just felt like they rushed the shit out.
So
Yeah, it's there's little connecting tissues that they just sort of like miss. Like Liu Kang just kind of shows up, and then Kung Lao kind of shows up, but then it's
Yeah.
like you know, just kind of like make those little you know scenes flow a little bit better. And plus, I looked at the clock and like we're an hour and 5 minutes into this movie, and I'm like, nothing has happened. Like they've been at Raiden's temple for
Yeah.
45 minutes, and I'm like, what
it
are we
had
doing?
it had
Yeah.
the same pacing as the first Thor movie, which I very vividly remember sitting in the theater watching that movie. They get to the coffee shop, and
Yeah.
he's like, "I'll have another," and throws his beer down, and then the giant whatever thing shows
Destroyer.
up, and they fight. When that movie ended, I was like, I feel like the movie just started.
Yeah.
That's kind of how this felt. Like by time things are in motion, it's ending.
Yeah, it's almost this movie's almost like a origin story for a fighter, but they split all like 10 people have like the same they're all molded together. You know, like Kung Lao and Liu Kang might as well have been the same character, you know? But I mean I will say they did an amazing job on the costumes. Cabal looked incredible. Kung Lao looked amazing. Goro, obviously CG, looked really good.
I don't know what they're gonna do with him either, which I want to talk about after you go through this.
With Goro?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was done.
Well, I was gonna say, like, they obviously took his body. Are they like Shang Tsung didn't? At least they didn't show him taking the bodies of any of the other fighters.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Because he said like death is just a portal.
Maybe they're going the Revenant route from MK11. I mean, maybe because you know Shao Kahn's got to show up at some point.
Well, here's the thing, right? We've seen Earth Realm, we've seen the Other Realm or Other World. We saw an amulet. I know you know what the amulet was. Yeah. And Shang Tsung said death is but a portal.
Yeah.
And where does death bring you?
Yeah, so there's Netherrealm, there's Chaos, there's Order,
The
there's
Netherrealm.
Edenia, there's all these other places that we haven't been, and Kung Lao, I'm not sorry, Liu Kang even mentions Outworld is the most murderous of all the realms, so like those realms obviously exist within this story, so
that amulet solidifies that at least one of those other ones exists.
Yeah. So it felt like they were trying to make MK1, but they basically skipped right to MK3 where they just say fuck the tournament, we're just invading Earth, you know, and that's but it wasn't Shao Kahn this time, it was Shang Tsung, and
so
you know,
correct me if I'm wrong, Colby. That was Chinook's amulet, right?
I thought it was. I'm not.
It looked like
you have to assume that it is. So
yeah. So Chinook is he's an elder god of the Netherrealm. and he has a lot of undead armies and shit. And
Quan Chi is a sorcerer who's kind of like his like right hand man, is kind of like his general. If they bring Quan Chi into this, like I loved Quan Chi, dude. I thought he was a really cool
both
character.
Of them are amazing.
Yeah. Plus the way they change, not change is a strong word, but the way they kind of like really reveal the secret behind Sub-Zero and Scorpion's past. The whole time you realized it was a betrayal thing, you know. And if they go that route in the second one, assuming they make one, it could be really cool. I really missed the actual tournament feel in this one. Like this was people just getting ambushed the entire movie. You know, the entire movie. There's no like actual. Like in the original Mortal Kombat, Johnny Cage has a tough draw, dude. He fights Scorpion first, and then he fights Goro. It's like, damn, dude.
Johnny Cage is one of the most skilled fighters, though.
Yeah,
like based on just pure lore, like
as far as hand to hand, yeah.
I feel like I'll have to go back and watch it, but I feel like almost every fight scene was a minute long.
They were fast,
every fight scene between the the people were just
they were very
bang 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 bang.
They were very well choreographed.
Oh yeah, like it was good, and I just feel like they rushed the shit out of it. It was like, all right, we're gonna drag out the first 7 minutes of this movie, and then we're gonna fucking go through 1 through 3 of video games.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the decision to make Cole Young the so-called, like, I guess he's the protagonist of this movie, like, he's useless. He does nothing. If he's not in the movie, nothing changes. Nothing changes because
he's not carrying.
Because Scorpion would still have come back anyway. You know.
Yeah. The problem with the story in this movie is all of the games are based on the story of Kung Lao and Liu Kang being the chosen ones. And Liu Kang always thought that Kung Lao was the chosen one, when really it was him, but Raiden needed him to discover that for himself. Yep. And
that sort of happens here. It's just Liu Kang is kind of like he's like on the sidelines a little bit in this one. He's not the
this
main
movie person. I feel like was shaped too much by what like popular opinion is. Like if you ask anyone who their favorite Mortal Kombat fighter is, even when we asked ourselves this, your answers will be Sub-Zero
or Scorpion. Yeah.
It's always like no one says Liu Kang.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always one of them. Like even if you play the game, you might be better with Liu Kang, but your favorite character is probably Sub-Zero or Scorpion.
Yeah, Liu Kang's the easiest character to use because it's literally forward, and then pretty much any button, and he'll do something. And like, people still prefer to play the ninja characters.
Yeah, and I feel like the movie tried to capitalize on that by saying, okay, well, let's make the two main characters the main plot, which would have been fine. But then the failing point is, I feel like they couldn't decide if they wanted to do a serious movie like the first 7 minutes, or if they wanted to do another like arcade-based movie where it's just like fun but not serious. And I feel like we had two different styles of movie, and they couldn't decide which they wanted.
It was almost like they were directed by two different people, like I do want to say, like, I don't want people to think that we are like saying this movie sucks. Like, we had a great time watching it. There's a lot to like in this movie.
I'm gonna watch it again.
I'll watch it again. I mean, Sub-Zero
this weekend I'll probably watch it again.
I would say Sub-Zero is definitely the best part of the movie as far as the action goes. His stuff that he does is just ridiculous. Kano is there purely to drive the comical, the comic relief. Raiden just is kind of there and constantly uses lightning and teleports people, and that's basically all he does.
And I didn't care for their portrayal of him in this movie.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
he definitely was much more like he is in the video games. I think the problem
just sort of watching
I forget the actor that played him in the 95 movie,
Christopher Lambert.
He made Raiden he made a new version of Raiden.
He had just enough one-liners and just enough comedy to
charisma.
Yeah.
And Shang Tsung was the same way, right? Like
Oh
the
yeah,
Shang Tsung from the '95 film, which I've actually sat down and eaten hot wings with.
yeah.
So
I've met him.
that
He's
was cool.
awesome.
But
Yeah.
um, he like you couldn't have cast a better person as Shang Tsung
Well, they
back in
use him in the video
1995.
games.
Like
They
I
use his
couldn't tell
likeness in
you
the
a
video
better
games
person
now.
to.
You know.
Yeah, like he was so good. Like he is the canon Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you go by Mortal Kombat 11, he is Shang Tsung. And while the actor in this movie did good, your your only point of comparison is a perfect
One
casting. So
one thing that I didn't like
he had
is
big shoes to fill.
yeah. One thing I didn't like is I don't like it when any adaptation does this, whether it's video game, book, TV, movie, whatever. I don't like it when they just assume that the audience is familiar with the story, so the audience can just connect everything together. Like Shang Tsung kept saying, "I'm here to take your souls," and it's like we never see him do it until it happens near the end, and it's like, okay, he has that power. But in the original one, he uses it at the very beginning, so we know in '95 Mortal Kombat, we
Like
know
that's his purpose.
yeah, that's
And
what he
doing
does.
it,
That's
yeah.
his special thing. And this one, he's like, "I'm here to take your souls." He said it like 5 times, and I'm like, "Well, fucking do it. They're right there." You know, like what? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
also that they Scorpion at the very beginning of the movie when he's still Hanzo has the dragon tattoo. And they say he's like one of the most legendary fighters for Earthrealm and this, that,
Yeah,
and the other. But
but that's not why
like,
Bihan's fighting him though. He's fighting him because he's a rival ninja clan. So it's like, how do those stories connect? You know,
right?
it's
Like,
it's chicken before the egg is what it is. It's like,
yeah,
was he chosen, or is it a family thing?
it. So here's my take. I had a lot of fun with the movie. I will definitely watch it again. I feel like this movie, if it didn't have the first 7 minutes,
It'd be way
which the
different.
first 7 minutes are the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would not have reacted as strongly to the rest of it if that first 7 minutes wasn't there.
Yeah, and it's not
If
even
they had just cut that, I wouldn't be reacting so harshly.
and it's not because they released it early and we got to see it ahead of time, that 7 minutes thing. It's because it's literally like that movie. It's a different movie. That opening sequence misrepresents the rest of the movie.
completely.
The first 7 minutes, like if that style had been drug out for the other hour and a half or however long this movie was, this would be like
I thought we were gonna.
Oscar-worthy material.
I thought we were gonna watch like a gladiator film, like his family gets killed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he,
like
that's
build
yeah.
up,
like yeah,
and he's working his ass off to
Yeah.
defeat him or find him or something.
I wanted
Okay, well those guys are done for. Until the end of the movie.
I want Hanzo's journey through the Nether Realm. I want Bihan's journey to become this
I called
because
it though.
you
I
saw
called
at the very beginning he
Yeah.
struggled to like form ice on his hand in that first scene. But
Yeah,
now he's
he
like
was-
doing all kinds like he's
Well,
been through some stuff over the last
it's been 400
however many
years.
centuries it's
Yeah.
been. I want that. Like they teased me something they didn't deliver on. And that's why it's like the first 7 minutes were my favorite, but that was so tonally different. It hurt the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know. I ate jalapeno poppers before I went and had Chinese food. Like
If,
Yeah,
if,
I mean,
if
that's-
I wouldn't have seen the first 7 minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
and we just started off with what's his name,
Cole.
MMA fighting.
I had a filet mignon before I ate chicken nuggets.
Yeah, well, if we would have just started, if we would have never seen it, the first 7 minutes, like that was non-existent in the movie, and we go in knowing it's a Mortal Kombat movie, and we start off when they're in the MMA ring and he's fighting and he loses,
I wouldn't have complained.
it would have been a completely different,
Yeah.
look into the movie. It'd
It's
be
like-
like, oh, well, that was cool,
Yeah.
But then you're like, wait, the first 7 minutes, you could have had a masterpiece.
They really hook-
You would
they really hook
continue
you.
on with that.
They really hook you with that, and then you watch the rest of it, and you're like, you don't. It's not that it's bad. It's like you had me so much at the beginning, and now it's like you were so close to having a freaking masterpiece of a movie, and you decided to
That's
go in a
it?
different direction.
Yeah. Yeah, like I wish they would have. Could you imagine like what the whole movie would have been like if it was like the first 7 minutes?
It would have
Like,
been
it wouldn't have
amazing.
been like, oh man, that was cool. When they did that, it'd have been like, dude, that was a fucking amazing movie.
Well, yeah, because think about that first 7 minutes. Like, okay, you start off like it's like you're kind of happy. You see this guy spending time with his wife and his kid, like it's happy feely, and then you immediately have fear,
Yeah.
like from the baby crying, and then you're freaking out because these two kids are alone by themselves, and then you have heartbreak, like, and more fear elevated by the wife and kids being unattended with this fucking lunatic, and then you have gut-wrenching suspense because you already know what's happened,
That
and
first part is almost it's almost
your
like
heart shatters.
it's almost like 3 acts. Like that first 7 minutes is basically first
Yeah,
level,
it
and
has everything.
it's its own short film, is what it is.
Yeah, because that
Yeah.
7 minutes seems like 45 minutes, an hour long scene.
Yeah, it's like an eternity, dude. And then you watch the rest of it, and it's like,
Yeah.
holy shit! We're an hour and 5 minutes in, and Shang Tsung's just now showing us who he's bringing to the table.
Yeah.
And the
we've
action is
met
great.
35 characters.
Right? Yeah.
The first 7 minutes was the Snyder cut, and everything else was what's his fucking name?
Yeah, it did seem like it. They
Like
almost
the
changed
movie.
directors.
The movie is what it is. It's a Mortal Kombat movie.
Right.
Take away the first 7 minutes, and you have a Mortal Kombat movie that is exciting and bloody.
Stretch out the
fatalities. Take away the first 7 minutes.
If you stretch that 7 minutes out all the way, though, you have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
a kung fu masterpiece film.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that the directors and producers watch these reaction videos and listen to what people like us are saying. I've never directed a movie. I don't know how the fuck.
Yeah, I don't either.
It reminds me of.
I'm a fan. Like,
pick a direction and go with it.
It reminds me in 2001 when we were at the movie theater. I don't even remember what movie we were watching, but like they showed the trailer for Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and it was so good. I don't even remember what fucking movie I watched. All I was thinking about while watching it was the trailer, and it's almost like that first 7 minutes was like a different film. Like it's really hard to put into words because it's like, what happened in that 400 years? Like, why did it go that direction?
What should they film first?
Yeah.
And see, and what's so worse is we've all seen great trailers. Like, holy fuck, that looks awesome. And
Iron Man 3.
And you're like, damn, that wasn't what I expected. Even if the movie was good, you're like, damn, I thought there was going to be more to this or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the first 7 minutes of the movie.
It wasn't
so you're
cut.
thinking,
syndrome.
This is what this movie is about.
Yeah. This is Iron Man 3 syndrome, Colby. Like, Colby and I have discussed many times. Like,
Iron Man 3 sucks.
The trailer for Iron Man. It is, but what I mean is
the trailer should have won a fucking Oscar.
For Iron Man 3. Yeah, the movie itself is probably my least favorite Marvel film.
Yeah,
like I've actually rewatched the Marvel series of movies several times. I omit that one.
Yeah,
I don't watch it. I will never watch it. It is awful.
Yeah, it was bad.
But the trailer made it seem like something it wasn't, and I think because of that, I judge it more heavily than what I would have if I had just watched it.
Mortal Kombat's. I wouldn't say it's Iron Man 3.
No, I will watch this again. Like, I will probably watch this again tomorrow.
I get what you're saying. Like, the build up for it, and there was a lot of people I've seen online like, oh, it's fucking stupid Mortal Kombat, whatever. And I'm thinking, well, we saw the first 7 minutes. This is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think
you go back and watch our reactions. I was punching you in the head, like pumped up, and it's still, you still got the action and stuff, but it was just a completely different movie.
This is after having watched it. This is basically a movie that like skip the first, like omit the first 7 minutes, and you could basically just have this movie playing while you're like doing the dishes or doing something.
Yeah,
and it's just sort of there because you don't like. There's no substance to it. It's literally, hey, this is to get people together to fight at the end. If that's what you want, great. And dude, the fights deliver. The action is good. There's just not enough of it. They train almost as much as they actually like have real fights in this movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And then they train for a tournament that never happens. That's the crazy thing. Like Liu Kang's like, there's not going to be another full moon before the tournament starts, and it's like there's no tournament, dude. Like there's no tournament.
Well, here's one thing too. Like it took Kano Took him forever to find his fucking power, right?
Yeah.
What's the main guy's name that sucks at acting?
Cole
Young.
Cole Young. Took him forever to find his power.
And his power.
Sonya kills Kano, warps back into
and she's got
wherever they're at, and then all of a sudden just it's like, bitch, you've been superpower for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This movie's fan service, like the movie, basically. It's like this is a Mortal Kombat movie. You're gonna see fights. The action is great. Kano is hilarious. The problem is he talks so fucking much in this movie. He talks so much. None of the other characters have any time to develop anything because he dominates the scenes that he's in.
Yeah, it's almost like when he became like they started rolling and he started fucking spitting out these one-liners. They were like, "Keep going, keep going."
That's what I mean. Like I feel like they gave him liberty to just improv, and the dude's good.
Oh yeah.
But
the problem is comedy movie.
I think you just did.
Yeah, well, I mean, at some point though, the director's got to be like, "Dude, tone it down just a little." You're over. Like you're eating dinner next to Jackson Briggs, and
he was making them
no one knows he's here.
He was making them look like shit, acting wise.
Yeah,
that
was good.
That's not the actor's fault. That's just the fact that like.
No,
I think you're right. I think you're right. The director's like, "Yo, we gotta film this motherfucker," But like, it's like you know what? You gotta tone him down a little bit. And it's not the fact that he just won't shut up. It's just like nobody else talks in the scenes because Kano just blah 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 the entire time, and he's good. I mean, the reptile Kano fight was pretty interesting to watch. Yeah,
that was.
We laughed our ass off most of this movie.
Yeah, and I didn't expect to. The original, it has some funny parts, ironically mostly from Raiden, but this one is without Kano. There is no comedy in this movie.
No,
that's Kano's entire purpose. In this movie.
Cabal's a little funny. Cabal was good.
Yeah,
but Cabal was just the right amount of humor.
He's just a foil to Kano, though. That's all he is. I mean, he's just a Kano Junior.
Yeah.
Well, he was the right amount.
Right. Kano should have been that. Like let's say Cabal were not even in this movie and they had actually put Kano in his place and he fought Liu Kang instead or whatever, like that amount of dialogue from Kano would have been good, but he speaks probably 3 times as many lines as anybody else in this movie, if I had to guess. At least twice as many.
Yeah.
Honestly, Cabal shouldn't have been in this movie. I feel like.
Well, plus he's
what might have been more relevant to have.
Doesn't he fight on Earthrealm's side? I thought like he's originally fighting for Earthrealm, right?
Yeah. What I think would have made more sense would have to have been like actually show the shit that happens to him where he gets burned and stuff, and then like him just go off camera and then show up later,
or
in another movie.
The part where Liu Kang does his dragon fatality to him. Like if Cabal were not messed up yet, and that was the thing that actually made him burn, that would have been compelling to see in part 2 for Cabal to try to like hunt down Liu Kang. But he was already fucked up like that, and it was like, how did that happen? Again, they assume the audience knows the history of the characters, but then the first 7 minutes, it's like, oh shit, they're showing it to us. It's just so weird. It's such a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah. But it was good. I feel like we're tearing this movie apart.
Yeah. Well, because that's how close
weird.
That's how close it was to being good. We really wanted it to be like we liked it. I think
close. I believe it's this first 7 minutes. Like the trailer, the first 7 minutes, it was completely different, and I don't know. My expectations were like, oh, this movie's going to be fucking this. And then it was a Mortal Kombat movie, which isn't bad, isn't terrible. It's just completely different from the first 7 minutes.
I feel like I was lied to.
Yeah.
Like you were going to see a drama and they threw in a comedy.
We were catfished.
It's like
catfished.
It's like you buy a 3090 on eBay and they ship you a box, an empty box. And that's like, what the hell?
We were catfished.
References. What's a 3090?
A graphics card.
A graphics card that doesn't exist.
But you know what catfishing is, right? Like we got shown the profile photo. We showed up, and it is not
like
a profile
when you order
photo.
something on Wish.
Yeah, exactly. We got the
that's
Wish
it.
movie.
That's it. Yeah.
Done. I don't
It
have
still
to say
works. It
anything.
does its job. You know,
Yeah.
it's entertaining, but it's just not the same thing.
Yeah.
I
But
think
yeah,
I think they should have.
I feel like we shit on this movie.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say
I feel
earlier.
Like,
Like
I feel like
all
we
we've
start off like, yeah, the movie was good. Man, this movie. You know,
That's
like,
what I wanted to say earlier. Is I feel like we keep like talking about how bad it was, and the reason for that is because
maybe it
it's
was shit. We're just
it's
trying to make it
it's
good.
not well. It's really close to being good. That's the problem. Like if they had done a couple of different things,
Yeah.
you know, like Cole should not.
Yeah.
Cole was a complete swing and a miss.
Well,
It should have. It
like
should
if
have been.
somebody asked you what did you think about the movie, I would say it was entertaining.
Yeah. Well, so I have to say
Agreed.
this too, like just to give some background context. I have played every Mortal Kombat game. I know the lore, I know the characters, I know the backstories. I've watched the other movies, I've watched the cartoon show. I know Mortal Kombat. So I'm coming from a very biased position of I know the material that they had to work with. What they did, I was not necessarily displeased with story wise, but it was not executed
Right.
well. Colby, I know you have a huge background on Mortal Kombat 2. Well,
like
not
part
just
two?
Mortal Kombat 2, but I mean
Okay.
as well.
I was like, I played all the games, bitch. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, I mean, I even played like the Sub-Zero Origin game on N64.
Oh, I love that game. Yeah, Sub-Zero Mythologies.
Yeah. You know, it's just like I can see it's probably hard to do because they've had so many different iterations of characters. They've retconned a couple of things. Mortal Kombat 9, they reset the timer and all that shit. And now, you know, in 11, they're 30 years in the future, whatever it is. It's like they contradict themselves with the games. It can't be easy to put together, but it's like this is what you chose. Like you why choose Rico and Natara? It's like they just pulled their names out of a hat. You know, those characters could have been anybody. You know,
Yeah.
why have them? Yeah, it was cool to see her flying
What's
around.
the name? What's the name of the insect chick? I can't remember her name.
Deborah.
Yeah, like she would have been better than anyone else they had there.
Yeah, she's.
What was the flying chick's name? Navarro?
Natara.
Navarro.
Never.
Yeah.
Heard
And she's in Deadly Alliance, and technically everyone is in Armageddon, so that doesn't count. But like, she's in Deadly Alliance, and she's just a useless character. Every game they have new people they add, and they just don't work out, so they never come back to them. And that was her. You know,
I would have rathered a better Reptile and
Agreed.
Baraka over those.
They should have had
Smoke.
They should have had like Baraka would have been excellent because you know he's obviously a fan favorite. He's been around for a while.
Well, yeah, and like think of how threatening he would look on screen.
Yeah, totally.
Like executed well.
Yeah, Rico sucked. Complete waste of space. That dude, that's Nathan Jones. He's an ex-wrestler. He is horrible. He gets knocked down. Jax punches him, and the guy literally goes like he stumbles back, and it's like, dude.
It's like let's find a big big tall guy that's muscular and put him in this movie.
Yeah, he was by far the worst casting. Please never put him in a movie again.
Yeah, it's
like
it's
they
weird.
could have put the Mountain in there and they did end up doing a job.
But yeah, and they were two very obscure Mortal Kombat. I didn't even remember them.
Yeah,
they walked up like if you remember their scene, they walked up like, oh shit, you know, like I'm thinking like I don't remember these guys, but I want to know more about them. You know, this guy's fucking huge. This chick is crazy as fuck looking.
You know,
and
it's
then all
bad.
of a sudden it's okay. We're gonna put them in, 20 minutes from now and kill them off. It's like, damn, you didn't know anything about them.
So what I'm realizing is, if this movie was not Mortal Kombat and was not characters that I knew and loved, I would not watch this movie.
What the fuck is this? What did we just watch?
Yeah. I wouldn't watch again. I'm realizing like this is the only saving grace of everything after those first 7 minutes is that it is Mortal Kombat.
Oh.
Yeah,
fatalities and the
Sub-Zero is good enough to carry this movie from an action perspective. Kano is good enough to carry it from a comedic perspective. But that's really it. There's not a lot of substance to it. Like, if they had just stuck with Sub-Zero hunting them down the entire time, That dude, I would have been here for that, dude. I'd have been all over it.
He was
good.
scary.
Yeah, he just disappeared sometimes with the smoke and stuff.
They
Dude, when
turned
he took
into
Jackson
him
balloons off, that was sick.
like he had a few moments where I was like, I'm getting Michael Myers vibes, or I'm
Yeah.
getting Jason Voorhees vibes. Like
Like he just
they made him
appears and-
scary as shit.
Yeah.
And definitely strong. I mean, like he displayed more power on screen than anybody else.
Well, I keep saying the first 7 minutes, even
Drink.
You know,
Every time we say it.
Yeah.
even the first, let's say 20 minutes. You know, when you meet, why can't I remember his name?
Cole
Because
Young.
he's
wasn't a good
useless.
character.
He's useless. That's why.
You know, he's forgettable, very forgettable. But even his scenes with the MMA and his daughter and his wife, and then Jax comes in, and then Jax and Sub-Zero have the fight. That up to there, it's still like you're like, oh shit, you know this, you know,
Kano,
okay, we're
Kano is good
somewhere.
and
And
Kano's
then all
good
of a
and
sudden
bad.
you start meeting Sonya, Kano, and it goes on and on and on and on, and it's like bam, 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 bam. Okay, dead. It's like they shuffled them in as soon as, you know, as quick
As soon as
I feel
Kano's
like-
on screen, the movie becomes the Kano Fest for the next 45 minutes, and it's
Yeah.
like it's hilarious. But we're not here to watch a fucking stand-up routine, you know?
And then he has one scene with Cabal, and then switches sides. Like
Well,
there was
yeah.
really no build up to it. Like we all know that
Well, it also
he's
doesn't
not
make
a good
sense.
guy, you know. But
Cabal hates Kano. Why they sent Cabal
Yeah.
to convince him to change sides doesn't make sense. Cabal was burnt up by Kano.
but like people that's never seen, don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, they're gonna see that and go like, well, damn, you know, I knew he was a dickhead, but he was
Yeah.
funny, you know, he's likable. And then all of a sudden he just switches teams because one guy says, hey, you can make more money.
Yeah.
Okay, next scene he's fucking everybody over.
Personally, I'd be like, I'm going to stick with the guys that could teach me how to shoot lasers out of my other eye.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Fuck this movie.
You're right that's another good point. That is really when the movie changes, is as soon as they introduce Kano.
Yeah,
Like
it
becomes
stops.
a
It slows
different
down. Yeah,
genre
it
of
stops.
movie
Yeah.
at that point.
Makes sense because it's all like scary and dramatic and a lot of drama. And then here comes the comic relief, and then it's just comedy for the next 45 minutes. And then it's okay, we got to kill all these people off that you've just met.
Yeah. I feel like the other problem is introducing a new character when the story of Mortal Kombat involves so many people.
Yeah.
And nearly every character in Mortal Kombat is iconic. Like there aren't like side characters. They're almost all iconic characters. Like everyone knows who they are.
For the first four games, or 3 games, yeah. But some of the later ones, I mean,
yeah.
Hey,
but
remember Cobra from Deception? Remember Cobra or Havoc?
Yeah.
I mean, you probably don't, you know.
But I feel like they would have almost been better served having had Sonya and Jax and everyone that wasn't Cole Young should have already had gone through the training. And if you're going to introduce,
you mean they should have had an actual
more time with them?
You mean they should have had an actual tournament like they promised? Yeah, that would have been
yes. Like I feel like all of them should have already have gone through training, could use their shit.
Looking for him.
Yeah, and Cole Young have been like the replacement for somebody else.
He's
and,
an
like,
alternate
them
or
train
something.
him up to speed. Yeah, exactly. Like, because if you're going to bring in a new character, you've got to make me like that new character. Because there's too many good characters in Mortal Kombat to make me care about this guy.
Yeah. So to that point, we see Scorpion's family get frozen in the very first part. That scene is gut wrenching, right? And then you see it to Cole's family, and you're like,
Yeah, I didn't care.
Yeah,
and it's all because of the tone. Like you started off super serious. Like the movie started serious, but like once you go through all that comedic stuff, by the time they get there, you're like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't go from seeing your wife and your son, impaled by ice to jokes about anal beads. It's like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And frisbee hats.
Yeah.
Kano is hilarious for people.
that.
Kano is hilarious.
It's
just
so fun.
It's so out of place, though.
So fun.
Yeah. This movie needs to be sliced apart and edited and recut.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, we need the Ed Boon cut. You know.
Yeah. And Mortal Kombat is meant to be funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like the arcade games have comedy in them too. But again, you have to commit to a tone, and I feel like the games do that too. Like story-wise, the games are very serious. They add in comedic stuff like friendships and like some of their fatalities are ridiculous.
Babalities and shit.
That they never change the story to squeeze in any of that. Like the stories, like you'll turn someone into a baby and then you go back to war. Like it's
I just thought it was lame that like Scorpion's part in this movie like is the trailer. It
was too small.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like going into it, like without the first 7 minutes, I feel like we would have had a completely different outlook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other problem is they thought Cole Young was more entertaining on screen than what Scorpion would have been. That's what I feel like.
If they had gone a different route and made Cole like a reincarnated version of him, and he's like slowly turning into him, because in the trailer it shows flashes of Scorpion like while Cole's looking into the mirror, and I'm like, damn, are they gonna turn him into Scorpion? Like that would have been awesome. But
yeah, I would have been down for that.
And then he power's
stupid.
And then he just gets this golden armor, and it's like, cool. You can now. He's basically has the Black Panther power where it absorbs stuff and reflects.
It's been done.
Yeah, we've seen it. You know,
animes have done it. Movies have done it. Black Panther probably did it best, but it's nothing new, and it doesn't even look that cool. Like
it was a weird shade of gold.
Yeah, the effect of it like forming onto him was really cool and exciting. But
and then it's just there.
But like a cut off sweater.
And then they to make it feel cool, they have him kill Goro. Like that's the only reason why he was fighting Goro.
Goro was done very well
than what it was.
Physically. Goro looked good. He was cool. He was imposing. Yeah. He was huge.
But think about like if they had revealed that power and he was fighting Baraka, like it wouldn't have been as cool. Like it only seemed.
Well, I think that's what they were going for
cool because at all, but I feel like they were trying to make it cool by him fighting Goro.
I thought they were basically saying that like his power is basically to adapt to whatever situation he's in, and I was like, okay, this is cool. He's formed these little hook blades on that he can use like tonfas and stuff, and then it just never happens again. He just stays that same form. I'm like, oh, he just sucks. Like great. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again. I loved all night. That's the crazy thing. I loved watching the movie. The more
I talk about it, the more I'm like, this movie fucking sucks.
It's weird because I loved watching it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can watch our reactions.
Well, again,
fun during the movie. But the more you think about it, you're like, God damn, they could have done so much more shit.
Well, yeah, that's why. Like, I compared it when we first started doing our review. I compared it to Transformers, the Michael Bay.
That's perfect.
I love Transformers.
Yeah,
and those movies are fun as hell. But it's the Transformers, and they had so much opportunity, and we ended up with the movies we got. They're fun, and I will rewatch them, and I will have fun every time I rewatch them.
First one's good,
but
Bumblebee's the best one.
They could have been so much more. Yeah, it is. And that's you put the right director in it, and like if all those other Transformers movies, even though they're fun, had been done in that same style, I would go from saying they were fun to saying they were good.
I will say there's a reason why a lot of people in Hollywood who talk about upcoming movies and stuff were a little nervous about this movie because first time screenwriter, first time director, usually not a good combination. And I will say that knowing that, they did a good job overall. Like this movie's entertaining. You watch it, you'll like it. It's just the reason why we are shitting on it so much is because we know it could have been better and probably should have been. That first 7 minutes is a fucking masterpiece.
Yep.
Yeah. But I really do almost wonder if that first 7 minutes was done by someone else.
It had to be. Had to be almost like second unit director. Because remember, that was like on location somewhere else. I mean, they go to some places in this movie though, so maybe not. But it felt like a different tone. How when you're watching the
I just
original
hope.
Justice League, you can tell the Joss Whedon
Well,
scenes versus that he added in.
I don't think it's a coincidence that they released those 7 minutes early.
I said that
Well, I
earlier.
just
Like that
hope
was
that- I want there to be another one. Like
I do too.
I really do, but I want them to. Like, I don't want people to see reaction videos like this. Be like, well, fuck that. I'm not.
If you're watching this, go watch the movie. You'll have fun.
Watch the movie,
and I want
you'll laugh your
people
ass off.
to watch it. I want it to succeed because I want them to do another one, but taking consideration of what the fans, that grew up. We're almost 40 years old. We grew up with this stuff, and you had it perfect the first 7 minutes of the movie. Like, it was perfect.
When I was watching it, I was like, okay, these motherfuckers get it. They get it.
I'm going to assume a whole lot of stuff here, but logically, what my thoughts are, those first 7 minutes probably didn't exist in that way, shape, or form originally. And when WB saw the rest of because this movie was delayed, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
I think they saw the original cut and were like, fuck, we invested a lot of money into this. People are expecting it. People want it. How do we get people to watch this after their friends tell them it sucked?
Yeah.
And their solution was, let's film this really crazy, high quality 7-minute scene, push it out there that everybody can go watch for free and then be like, holy shit, this is going to be awesome.
Well, because
I'm making all that up. I'm not saying that
really
happened,
think about
but
it,
that's what I feel like
the
happened.
beginning of the movie, like, it did seem like
it was a bait and switch.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a lot higher quality than the rest of the movie.
It had cinematography. It had orchestrated music. It was filmed on location somewhere. The actor that got to play Scorpion was overkill for the length of time he got to actually play in the movie. Like, he is an amazing
and maybe
actor.
maybe that's all it is, dude. Maybe it's just the actor's performance is so good in that scene because not a lot of people they don't speak English that entire scene. It's they alternate between Chinese and Japanese because Sub-Zero or Bihan's Chinese, Hanzo is Japanese. So his facial acting when he sees his family there's more emotion in that scene than the rest of the movie put together. Yeah. So maybe it's just a combination of a really fucking good actor, really good cinematographer, and it just worked. And then I don't understand their decision to keep him out of the rest of the movie though. And it's maybe because he's so overpowered when he's in his like spectral form, but it's like, okay, have you not seen what fucking Sub-Zero is doing to people? Like he's OP too,
Well, if you think about it though, like they double teamed Sub-Zero.
Oh yeah, Sub-Zero is the most OP person in this. Other than, I mean, technically, like Shang Tsung can steal people's souls, but that's not the point. Sub-Zero is he's fear personified in this movie. When he's on screen, it's a horror film. That's the thing. It's like the first part is like Gladiator. When Sub-Zero's on screen, it's a horror film. When Kano's on screen, it's a comedic film, and then they just put it together, and it's like, eh.
They failed a little bit on Scorpion's character too, because
he's not in it enough to really have a character other than the first part.
But I mean, like, part of his draw for me in the games is like he's always working for Shang Tsung, or he's always working for evil to like further his chances of getting revenge.
Yeah, he wants to find Bihan at all costs.
Well, even after he does though, like he wants to end the Ling Kuei.
Oh yeah.
And so like people always think he has these alternative means. He's almost like he's an anti-hero, right? Like
of course.
He's a very honorable guy that will do whatever it takes to get his revenge.
It's almost like Thanos, like he doing what he needs to do, to accomplish his mission,
Yeah. But like that decision making in the lore of the games is always interesting on like, do we actually trust him right now?
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like we could go on for like 12 hours about what they could have done. Ultimately, what they did do
is already longer than it should be.
Yeah. Ultimately, what they chose to do is entertaining to watch. It just probably should have been better, but still, I mean, I had a blast watching this movie. I did. Well, I mean, we were
it was fun.
screaming and yelling the entire time and laughing and stuff, and it was great to watch. But if they do make a second one, I really hope that they just get a little bit more character development. I mean, because there's just some people that are just there in this movie. Like when they meet Kano, Cole is Cole's the focus of the first 20 minutes of the movie after the scorpion scene, and then Cole just kind of disappears, and he's just there with them to go to Raiden's temple, and then he's just there.
Yeah.
And then at the end he shows up. It's like, where the fuck has he been?
Yeah.
Yeah. The gravity of Kano just overwhelmed everything else on screen. Good acting, but yeah, that's where the director really has to step in and tone things down.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we get it. I love what you're doing, but we need some of
like
the other characters to show through.
Opposite. He was like, keep going.
He fed into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was hilarious. There's so many one-liners in this movie. It is.
I mean,
Kano
what
is
he says
extremely
is
quotable.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah. He doesn't say anything that didn't make me laugh.
No. Like, it's so fun.
And that's the problem, though. He's a walking quip. He's a walking one-liner. You know.
Yeah. He is like the Deadpool of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, he does do his
he
does do his fatality though. His heart rip. That was pretty cool.
He's the Steven Stifler.
Yeah. Well, that's enough of this, I think, guys. But Mortal Kombat, I think we all enjoyed it. I don't think any of us would say it was great, but it is fun. It is worth watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And we'll figure out what we're going to watch next and put up another video at some point.
Yeah, it was fun.
Colby?
No, that's it. You know, it was fun to watch. I love doing these videos. You know, we're just getting started, so you know, pretty soon, you know, look out for some more reactions, commentaries, that kind of stuff. We'll probably bring in some gaming stuff here eventually as well. So it should be fun.
Sweet. Well, fan out, guys. Have a good night.
See you guys.